And welcome everyone to the Outsider Sports Show. Clint, Switzer, and Noah Groniger joining you. We're talking Super Bowl, we're talking NFL, we're talking all things NFL. We've got the Super Bowl, the matchup is set. Seahawks and the Denver Broncos in a couple weeks. And I'll tell you what, we're going to have two great guests coming on. Both former Seattle Seahawks, both from the Seattle side of things. We've got Big Sam Adams coming up and Charlie Rogers, two former Seahawks, going to be talking about this game. No one from the Denver side of things wanted anything to do with the Outsider Sports Show, and that's just fine by us.
That's right. Former defensive tackle for the Seattle Seahawks, Big Sam Adams. You remember him. He was on that Ravens Super Bowl team as well.
Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos with a display, with his clinic against the New England Patriots at Invesco on Sunday. The Denver Broncos came out. They have played flawless football. Peyton Manning is playing the best football of his career right now. Noah, how do you explain this? The matchup was billed as a Brady versus Manning situation, but the Patriots never had the football. Denver has turned into the 85 Bears on defense against all odds, and they took control of that game early, and it was all over. 20-3, it was done.
Yeah, I mean, Brady appeared that he had a torn ligament in his hand, so he was definitely missing some passes, some deep passes down the field, 3 or 4 of them in the game, and that really hurt him. He was taking a lot of sacks by Pork Chop, Terrence Knighton, and I mean, especially on the 4th and 2, they decided to go for it, big sack there, and I felt that was the game, and it proved to be.
Absolutely was, and I'm disappointed. I think Tom Brady, who had a very good season despite all the negative factors surrounding the Patriots this year. We've talked about it. It's been well documented. The injuries on defense, Vince Wilfork, you've had Mayo out. You've had Aqib Talib go out in this game. You've had injuries all over the field.
Spikes, Tommy Kelly.
Brandon Spikes, that's right. Yeah, Tommy Kelly up front. They just did not have the same push up front. Their defense, who had played well in the early part of the season, Tom Brady, his numbers picked up despite not having, very good weapons around him. I mean, I think Julian Edelman became a very good receiver for them, but other than that, Amendola was a disaster. They had no Aaron Hernandez. They had no Gronkowski except for a few games. Tom Brady put together a good season, but I mean, the debate's going to continue. I think when it comes to Brady versus Manning, you've had each win a couple games now against each other in an AFC Championship situation. After seeing this played out, which quarterback would you rather have?
Oh, man, that's tough. I think I'm going to have to still go with Tom Brady when he's healthy, 100%, and has a few more weapons out there. Julian Edelman was a college quarterback, 7th-round pick. They tried to transition him into wide receiver. He's become a fairly nice wide receiver, but he's small, and he was really a 5th wide receiver for all those years that they had. Deion Branch, Dave Patton, Wes Welker, Dante Stallworth, and now he's jumped into the starting role with all the injuries and losing Wes Welker to the Denver Broncos.
It's going to be interesting to see where the Patriots go from here because, I mean, Tom Brady has already stated, he wants to play well into his 40s, if that's even possible. I think he's a guy that that's what he's put on this earth to quarterback this football team. And that's what Tom Brady's going to do. And I think as long as he's there, as long as Belichick's there, they're going to be in AFC Championship games. He just played in, I believe, his 8th one as a pro. That's unbelievable. 8 AFC Championship games, 19 playoff wins.
I remember one AFC Championship game, and my quarterback was brutally knocked out of the game. Joe Montana lying on the cold field there at Ralph Wilson Stadium.
In Buffalo, my gosh. But, Denver goes on. The Seahawks go on with a really a stellar effort against San Francisco, a team that was definitely coming in there, had a chance to win that game. Colin Kaepernick made a couple mistakes down the stretch, some weird calls. And, of course, we have Mr. Richard Sherman comes on after the game, cutting a straight-up pro wrestling promo. I thought Aaron Andrews was Mean Gene Okerlund there for a minute. I mean, he cut a promo. People love it. They hate it. You know what side we're on, Noah? We think it's great. We love the passion. We love the fire. Why do people have such a problem with this?
They say that he took away from his team's effort and their accomplishment of winning the NFC title and going to the Super Bowl, but I disagree. It's not. She didn't ask, hey, how do you feel that now that you guys are going to the Super Bowl? She asked, tell me about that last play. And he told you. Whether you like it or hate it, whether he should have called him a sorry receiver, he came out and apologized today that he shouldn't have called him a sorry receiver. That he did take away from his teammates, and he would do it differently. Pete Carroll sat down and talked with him, and he says he's a very sensitive, bright kid, really wants to be the best, and he just made a mistake, and it's a learning experience, and that's what he's going to take away from it.
And we've talked a lot, we've heard a lot, since this occurred, on Facebook and Twitter and all, you've read all the stuff, and, you got a lot of people out there that, if they have kids, you or I, we don't have kids, we don't have that, we don't have to sit our kids down and try to explain, the NFL or explain why certain players act a certain way. But I'll tell you one thing. it kind of bothered me because, to me, Richard Sherman, no NFL player, no NBA player, no professional athlete of any kind, is playing their sport to be a role model.
Not only
Am I
that,
wrong?
but I think he is a role model. You can't just take that one part of Richard Sherman in a very intense moment when Aaron Andrews asks, tell me about that last play, literally minutes right after that play occurred. And he told you what he thought. Crabtree had been talking stuff since last summer. And Richard Sherman came from Compton to a Stanford graduate. 3.9 GPA at Stanford. That is amazing. And now he's become an all-pro corner after being selected in the fifth round of the NFL draft when he was thought to not be able to do that. People were questioning his skills. Even his own coach at Stanford, Jim Harbaugh, comes over to the 49ers and he doesn't draft him going through 5 rounds. Comes to Seattle, works his butt off, and he is a Pro Bowl cornerback, all-pro, best cornerback in the league.
That's why I don't think it's fair, though. We're fans of the NFL. If we had children, they would probably, sons would probably be sitting next to us watching games. A lot of people out there have their kids there, they watch. And just because you're a fan of football doesn't mean that you need to be sitting there telling your kids that, oh, you have to act this way, you have to act classy, you have to do this, you have to do that. That's not their job. Have them watch Sesame Street if we're going to do that. These guys are out here. It is a man's game. It's a physical game. It is a game of passion. It is a game of pride. And when that's going on and you've got 2 guys that are going at it and it's a rivalry and that stuff's going to happen, yeah, at the end of the day, do you want to sit there and make comments like that after every game? Of course not. It happened in a big game, NFC Championship. Seahawks flying high, going on to the bowl, and I'm going to be interested to watch it, man. I'll tell you what, it's boggling my mind, though. A lot of Chiefs fans pulling the switch, turning heel, cheering for the Denver Broncos after this Richard Sherman situation. What do you make of that?
I just can't understand it at all. This is a rival. My most hated rival in the NFL is the Denver Broncos because they've been so good and they've challenged us. It used to be the Raiders, and they were coming off Super Bowls in the 70s. Pretty good teams, 80s, 90s, and now they've fallen off, and now it's the Denver Broncos that are the team to beat in the 90s, and now with Peyton Manning, and they are my most hated team, especially in the 98 playoffs. They have the Vaseline on their jerseys. They're cheating. They're holding. And Shannon Sharp always running his mouth. You got to hate that. So the Denver Broncos are my most hated rival. And just because Richard Sherman is emotional and says something he probably shouldn't have, it's not a reason to go and start rooting for the Broncos to win a Super Bowl. That's your most hated rival. How can you root for them to win a Super Bowl, a third one, before the Chiefs have won one?
And we are continuing all Super Bowl talk all the time here on the Outsider Sports Show. Charlie Rogers, the former Seattle Seahawk, joins us. Of course, Charlie, you came into the league in 1999 with the Seattle Seahawks, immediately won the division there in Seattle. How's everything going in your world, and how you feeling about this Super Bowl coming up?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm just loving the fact that the Seahawks are back in the prominent position. We're in the Super Bowl. I think we can take it this year.
Well, Percy Harvin's coming back. He's only played about 37 snaps this season. What do you think that adds to the Seattle offense, and how much do you think this puts a kink in the preparation for the Denver Broncos?
Well, Percy Harvin is definitely one of the most dynamic players right now playing. With him on the field, he creates so much mismatch and differences out there that I don't know if they can contain him. Hopefully, he and Russell Wilson got their time together and can get on the same page. He can be a tremendous help this game.
Well, if Percy Harvin does get injured, as he usually has this season, are you ready to strap it up? First team All-Pro in 1999, kick returner, wide receiver. Are you ready to help these Seahawks out and get this Super Bowl?
Man, I wish I was in this spot. I wish I was in this situation right here, man. I swear. Big-time players live for these type of situations. So I'm kind of hoping that Percy Harvin, Russell Wilson, and everybody else on the Seahawks offense step up tonight. Step up Sunday night. It's going to be a big, exciting game. And man, if I was in this spot, I don't know what I would do.
Only 3% of NFL players get to play in a Super Bowl. It is an elite group. It is a privilege. It's a special situation. These guys have made it all the way there. Now, we've of course been talking about Richard Sherman. This has been a couple weeks ago. Of course, he made the comments following the victory over the San Francisco 49ers. Noah and I here on the show and here on the Outsider Sports Show have been a big proponent of Sherman. Think he's a wonderful player, backs it up on the field. What did you think of him? What do you think of his comments about Michael Crabtree? Do you think it was a little overblown? And what do you think about him as a player?
Well, I actually love the guy. I like his fire. I like his energy. I like his cockiness. I think that's what makes him a great player that he is that he's really cocky. He doesn't hold his tongue, and I don't know. I think he's gonna really perform well in the Super Bowl. As far as the Michael Crabtree situation, I'm with him. Michael Crabtree hit him in his face. He had the right to blow up and talk trash about him. Do I think he believes that he's a mediocre player? No, but stats don't lie.
Well, what do you think about this Broncos offense, and how is the Seattle defense going to match up against all that firepower?
Well, man, whenever you face a Peyton Manning-led team, you got problems. And hopefully we can put some pressure on him, move him out of that spot he's like to get comfortable in, send different blitzes, and hopefully our DBs, which are probably the best in the league, can bump and run those guys, Decker and Thomas, and we can contain No-Show Moreno. If we can do that, I think we'll be successful.
Now, Charlie, you played, of course, in Seattle back in the days of the Kingdome, and what a loud and raucous environment it was back then. Now, of course, the 12th man resides there at Quest Field in Seattle, where these fans have just been so amped up for this team. What is your experience playing in front of these Seattle fans? And I mean, this town must just be at a fever pitch right now with their second Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, well, I know the Kingdome, was one of the loudest places I ever played in. I know the Seahawk fans are very loyal. They're great fans. They die for their team. I think, man, I wish I was in front of these guys. I swear I do. Those are probably the best fans, the most loyal fans in all of football. I've been around the Jets and Giants fans. I've been around, I was an Eagle fan growing up. They're crazy, but the Seahawk fans are so loyal. They're out there in the rain half the time. They rain, sleet. They're there. They travel. Great fans, man. Great city. I love my time there, and I miss it very much.
If Peyton Manning puts up 28 or more points, do you think this Seattle Seahawks offense can keep pace with Peyton Manning and their weapons, Golden Tate and Zach Miller, Luke Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson, Percy Harvin, Doug Baldwin? Is that enough to keep up with Peyton Manning if he gets going in this game?
No, I think we got to limit Peyton to like around 21 points.
Yeah,
and that's a tall task. That's tough to do when you're talking about Peyton Manning. He's an all-time legend at his position. That's tough to do. If we can limit them to about 21 points and get Marshawn Lynch going early, so we can turn some clock, and we got to put pressure on Peyton. So if we can do all those things, 21 points, we definitely come out with a victory.
Of course, you're an East Coast guy out there. The Super Bowl comes out to the East Coast in a cold weather environment here in New York City, or in New Jersey, actually, there at MetLife Stadium. How do you feel about this game being played, kind of outside in colder elements? And, you're an East Coast guy. It probably is something that wouldn't bother you a bit, would it?
Yeah, well, personally, I would prefer the game to be played in a warm environment. You play all year, for you jockey for position to get into a big game. I think this game should be in a more comfortable environment. Now, if I was put into this situation here, I would relish the situation, like I said earlier, and I'll make the best of it. But I do believe that the game, the final game, at the end should be a reward, and I think should be played in a warm weather environment. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. Definitely want the warmer climates, especially for the fans that are having to go out in this treacherous weather to watch this great game. But we're going to have to hold your feet to the fire, Charlie. What's your prediction? We need a score. We need a winner. Who you got?
I got Seahawks. I got the Seahawks. I hate going against Peyton Manning. I know he's one of those guys you shouldn't be betting against. But I got to go with the Seahawks, 24-21.
Well, before you came on, we had Big Sam Adams on the show, former Seahawk himself, and he agreed. So, you don't want to disagree with Big Sam Adams. That's not a guy I would want lumbering towards me whatsoever. I mean, just...
Man, Big Sam, Big Papa, yeah. He's one of the biggest, quickest guys you ever seen in your life. He tear up the middle. I love Big Sam.
Yes.
What did he say? What was his score?
I don't think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think we ever got a score from Sam, but he definitely had Seattle. He thinks it's going to be close. He thinks it's going to be down to the wire, and I think that anybody is going to go along with that. I mean, this game is going to be close. Seattle's defense will not allow, a blowout one way, and I don't think that Seattle's offense will be able to blow Denver out the other way. I think we're going down to the wire, but definitely all of us going for a Seahawks win here. We're in Kansas City. Here, Charlie, we cannot have Denver Broncos winning a Super Bowl. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, I don't want them to win it either.
Good.
I'm with you guys.
Hey, we're Chiefs and Seahawks, former division rivals, but, time has passed. Seahawks now in the NFC West. It's all good. Charlie, I'll tell you what, thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy all the festivities. And let's do it again sometime, my man.
No problem. Anytime, guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Take care, Charlie. Thanks.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Clint.
Go Hawks!
And we are talking all things Super Bowl here on the Outsider Sports Show and being welcomed by a very special guest right now. Big Sam Adams is on the line. Sam, how's everything going for you, man? It's been a while. Everything good?
Everything is wonderful. How are you doing?
Doing great. Super Bowl week. Can't complain. And, of course, the NFL team that drafted you, Sam, out of college, the Seattle Seahawks, find themselves playing for their second Super Bowl coming up here on Sunday. What an opportunity for this team. As someone who was drafted by the Seahawks back in the early '90s, just what do you feel like as a Seahawks alum, and you must be just really proud of this team right now?
They're doing well. For me, it boils down to the defense. I'm a defensive fan. I played defense for 14 years in the NFL, and when they take the field, it's excitement. They're physical, they're aggressive, they get after the quarterback. It's very exciting to watch the Seattle Seahawks.
Let's go back, of course, after the NFC Championship game. Everybody's talking about Richard Sherman and what happened in his comments following that game. What is your take on someone like Sherman? Because, this is a guy who's ultra-talented, playing on a great secondary. He's a guy that backs up his play on the field. Noah and I here at the Outsider Sports Show, big fans of Sherman's. What is your take on that situation? What do you think of Richard?
Well, I didn't talk that much when I played. That's not my style. And if he's going to do it, he's got to be able to back it up. I think he's a great asset to the team. I think he's one of the best in the league. If not, it's hard for me to say someone the best because cornerbacks don't play against each other. But he's a very, very good cornerback. He makes a lot of plays, and he's one of the leaders on the team. I like the kid. I think the kid can play. And hey, you know what? When you look at the team, it's not just about one person. He does a lot of things off the field that are positive in the community. There's a lot of community service, so I think he's a good dude. I think you caught him at the wrong time. But you know what? If Crabtree doesn't want him saying that he's the best in the league and he doesn't want him calling him booty, then next time you make the play.
Yeah, exactly. How much would you have loved to play with this defensive line? They really get after the quarterback, guys like Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett, Chris Clemens. How great would it have been to play with these guys?
Those guys can play, man. It'd have been great to be able to run with those guys. They can play. I've had my share of Hall of Famers that I played with and so forth, and when you look at these kids, they get after the ball. They get after the quarterback, run, pass, draw, whatever. They're going to put a ton of pressure on the quarterback, and they're fun to watch, and they all have that special mentality. They always have a Texas Aggie here in Seattle, and they have two now, and man, those guys, they're doing us proud. They're physical, they're aggressive. They leave no quarter for any running back or quarterback, and that's how you have to play the game.
Do you worry about these Seahawks players at all? None of them have been to a Super Bowl, so they don't know what it's like. They don't know what to expect. You've been to two. What advice would you give to them?
Be yourself and play. They don't have to go to a Super Bowl to win it. I won it on my first one, lost on my second one. I had Hall of Famers on. I had more Hall of Famers playing with me in the second Super Bowl than I did the first. I had Jerry Rice, Tim Brown. We had guys that had played in 2, 3, 4 Super Bowls and lost. It doesn't matter. The Denver Broncos, I have great respect for Peyton Manning and the guys that are there in Denver. I played with Champ Bailey, and he's a great guy. But, man, I just think they're in big trouble. They're not necessarily, they're not playing just for, to win. They're playing so you remember that you played against someone special today. They're going to be physical. I keep going back to that, but the teams that are physical, the teams that make the least amount of mistakes, which the Seattle Seahawks do not make very many, that that's the team that typically wins. And they're going to get after the quarterback. They're getting ready to put on the show. And because Seattle, we may have been the best team in the NFL this year, but because they're in Seattle, they don't get a lot of hype, and a lot of people don't know about them. They're getting ready to come back and put Seattle on the map again. They're going to put on the show come Sunday. It's going to be dominating. Defensive line is going to be devastating. You know, like you talk about this Legion of Boom, it starts with the defensive line. The defensive line doesn't give you very much time, and they have those big physical, fast corners, and I mean, Earl Thomas and those kids that are playing in the secondary. It's awesome. It is awesome to watch, and it's a pleasure to watch. And not to steal something from Terrell Owens, but you also get your popcorn and get ready because it's going to be a blast.
Well, Sam, everybody's talking about Peyton Manning versus this great Seattle defense, but what about the other side of the ball? We've got second-year quarterback Russell Wilson coming in here, starting, of course, in his first Super Bowl, but all the kid's done is win since he's been in Seattle. The punishing running game with Marshawn Lynch, some opportunistic receivers. How do you see the Seattle offense being able to take it to Denver? Because Denver's defense has certainly improved as the year goes on, but this is a key battle no one's talking about.
Yeah, people aren't talking about that. And I wasn't a believer of a short quarterback, but the kid has always won. I watched him on the Senators at Wisconsin. He makes great decisions. He's a high-character guy on and off the field. He's trustworthy, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's got a great offensive line. But you know what? For me, when I think about the offense, I think about the offensive line coach, and I think about the coaching staff that they have there that puts them in the best situations that they can possibly be in to win. I mean, they have done an amazing job here in Seattle putting this organization back together. But when it started with the front office, then you go and get the right coach from USC with Pete Carroll. Then he builds a strong staff, a great staff that can lead young, physical, aggressive players. Front office has given them the right tools that they needed, and they have taught them well. And I tell you, man, with the physical running game and with the presence of, I think Percy Harvin might even play. So with the presence of the passing game, and you pass because you choose to pass, not because you need to pass. I think that gives them a better opportunity. When they're in third and makeables, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, and they're able to march down the field, it makes it very difficult to beat. Not taking anything away from the Denver Broncos. They have a great coaching staff as well. They have great players as well. But the Seattle Seahawks right now, I live in Seattle, and I don't necessarily consider myself a fan of one team because I play for 6, but I am a fan of these kids, man. They're exciting to watch, man. They really go after it and they get it done.
Yeah, you made a good point there with the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. People maybe don't know that Tom Cable is their offensive line coach, great coach for the Oakland Raiders who they let slip away. What do you think? You mentioned Percy Harvin. What do you think he adds to this game, especially for just preparation on the Broncos side?
Well, it gives you more to prepare for. I mean, you never know where they're going to put him in. They're always going to have a package built for a player like that. He's very capable of taking the ball, wherever he is on the court. On the field, I'm sorry. I was thinking basketball. I coach basketball now. Imagine that. I'm a girls basketball coach, the defensive lineman, so I always talk about the court. But Percy Harvin is one of those deep threats. He's one of those explosive players that wherever he touches the ball, he can be able to take it back. But that goes to say, you can say that about any of their receivers. They have an explosive receiving core. They're going to have a package for Percy Harvin, but man, you have to prepare for all of them because every one of them are extremely dangerous.
I want to ask you, too, about this the Super Bowl, of course, taking place in New York City, the first time it's ever been outdoors in a cold environment. I mean, rumors that there's still 16,000 tickets available for $2,000 a pop, by the way, if you're interested. What do you think about the Super Bowl being played in a cold environment like this, and do you think this is something the NFL should continue to do?
I could care less if you play it underwater. I could care less if you play it on the moon. It's the Super Bowl. You know what? Football was meant to be played in the elements. Football was meant to be played in treacherous environments, whether it be 120-degree heat in Arizona or it's minus 30 in Green Bay. That's football. That's what you think about. And I love the fact that that it's freezing cold and it's the winter black, so they call it. I could care less. It's the Super Bowl. It's the greatest single event in sports that happens once a year, and we're
ask you about the Denver Broncos. The Peyton Manning comes in, he gets the ball out quick. I don't know if that pass rush is going to be able to get there. Other than Richard Sherman, are these other guys going to be able to cover the likes of Eric Decker, Julius Thomas, Wes Welker? That you got Byron Maxwell, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, and Walter Thurmond. Are they going to be able to be up to the challenge?
I think they will be up to the challenge, but then again, that's Peyton Manning. You know, there's different things that you can do. You can disguise your coverage as long as you can. It'll be difficult to fool him because he is a savvy veteran and he's been doing it for a long period of time. But you have to realize that if they go out there and they go man-to-man and they don't give them anywhere to run and they don't give them any passing lanes, it'd be very difficult for him to get that ball out quickly. Now, that being said, not very many people have been able to do that to him. You know, you have a great defensive coordinator that have tried to shut him down through the years, and they just have not been successful. But it always starts with the defensive line. Seattle Seahawks have a defensive line that can be disruptive, that can get in the passing lanes, that can make it very difficult for Peyton Manning and have to make him try to move outside of that pocket. If they destroy that pocket, then he's not going to be able to be comfortable back there. You have to do two things to beat Peyton Manning. You have to disguise your coverage as long as you possibly can, and you have got to get your defensive lineman in the passing lanes and put a lot of pressure on him. If the Seattle Seahawks are able to do that, they'll make it very difficult for him, and they will have a better opportunity to be successful.
Well, Sam, we're going to put the pressure on you. Me and Clint are coming after you. You started your season off you started your career off with the Seattle Seahawks. You ended with the Denver Broncos. Where does your heart lie, and who do you got in this game?
I got the Seattle Seahawks. They're young, they're physical, they're aggressive. It's hard to bet against Peyton Manning, I will say that. I mean, he's a playmaker, and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever graced the field. But the Seattle Seahawks have it all put together right now, and they're just physical and aggressive. They fly around on defense. And I get a lot of props to the offense, but you win championships by playing great defense, and I believe the Seattle Seahawks have that edge.
You would know.
You would know, and I'm hoping that someone from that front seven there is prepared to pick up a ball and lumber 70 yards like you back for the Buffalo Bills in 2003. Like that's what we're going to need, one of those plays to happen, Sam, and it's all on you to make it happen.
Well, you know what? They got a couple edges on that defensive line, and I believe they can get it done.
That's right.
Oh yeah, they got some edges over there that can roll. The Seattle Seahawks are ready to get it, and I'm telling you, it'll be a great show. And they have plenty of talent on that defensive line. They have been known to make great plays. So, I hate to say that too much because I played with Denver, and I've coached, or I had some of the coaches on the Broncos coach me in different places. But I'm just telling you right now, the Seattle Seahawks are special. I've had a chance to watch a lot of their games. I've watched a lot of Denver's games, and I think this may be their year. Then again, that's why they play the game.
Absolutely. Well, everybody will be watching on Sunday, of course. Sam, enjoy the game. Enjoy your weekend, and let's get a win for the Seahawks, buddy. Let's do it.
All right, have a good weekend. Thanks for the opportunity, gentlemen.
You bet. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sam.
Awesome to hear from Sam Adams. The predictions are out there from our two representatives. It's time to roll it, man. Seahawks, Broncos. What about you? Noel, let's start with you. The game is set. Looks like Denver's going to be about a 2-point favorite. Evenly matched game. Two different styles. Who wins it? What's the score? And how's Bruno Mars at halftime? Actually, don't even bother answering that last part.
Don't worry, I won't. Manning's arm is going to be cold. It's going to be cold up there. I don't think he's going to have enough zip on the ball, but I think he's got just enough to get it done versus the Seahawks offense, because I don't think the Seahawks offense is going to be able to stay with Peyton Manning. I think Peyton Manning is going to score enough points, 28-20. Denver Broncos beat the Seattle Seahawks, who just can't find the receiver. Is Harvin going to play? Is Marshawn Lynch going to be able to carry them? How's Russell Wilson going to react in that first giant game that he's in? He's in the Super Bowl, and it's just his second year in the NFL. Is Golden Tate and Doug Baldwin going to be able to stand up to the pressure of Champ Bailey and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie? I think they're going to have to run the ball out with Lynch. Lynch is going to have to break some big runs. I don't see that happening, really, maybe one or two, but not enough. And I've definitely got the Denver Broncos winning this one for our good friend Sam Robinson, who will get his third NFL championship, as he is a Denver Broncos fan, unfortunately.
Well, I'm going to tell you exactly how the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this game and how Russell Wilson's going to play in this game, because he's not going to have to play much at all. He's not going to have to throw the football. The Seattle Seahawks are going to be ball control, Marshawn Lynch, a healthy dose, short underneath passes. And Russell Wilson's not going to make a mistake. They're going to keep the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning off the field because their front seven is going to get after Manning. Their front seven is going to stop that inside run. That front seven is going to knock balls down that the New England Patriots weren't able to because they had no secondary. The Seattle Seahawks are going to control this game and the tempo of it, and if they can do that, they will win, and it will be lower scoring. I'm going to say 24-21 Seattle wins the game, and Super Bowl MVP is going to be Marshawn Lynch with 2 rushing touchdowns, and I think that's you're going to see the confetti flying with the neon green and the crazy blue Nike uniforms from the Seattle Seahawks. They win the Super Bowl. They win their first in team history, and Peyton Manning, lumps off the field, not sure, contemplating retirement, or maybe not, come back and beat the Chiefs a couple more times. Maybe he'll do that as well.
Maybe he'll get a tattoo LOB on his arm to always remind him that he was crushed by the Legion of Boom.
I love it. Well, now that that's in the books and we've talked to our guests, guys, everything that we do here, it comes back to the fact that we cover the Kansas City Chiefs. That's our team. That's the team we cover. The team we covered at training camp. That's what this all comes back to. And another year of the Kansas City Chiefs watching this thing from home has given us, maybe new perspective, because you hear a lot of Chiefs fans out there that they're happy with the season, and maybe they have that right to be 11-5.
10 Pro Bowlers?
10 Pro Bowlers now, which is kind of a joke. But do you ever get the sense in this town, in the way that the Chiefs fans handled this playoff loss, which to me was one of the most crushing losses of my career, of my life, in this playoff game to the Colts, blowing the 28-point lead. The way they handled it, do you feel, because I feel like this, and I want to hear what you have to say, do you feel like Kansas City sports fans have any idea how to win?
No, I do not. They're acting like a great season, we'll get them next year. How many years can we say this on and on and on and not realize the trend, look at the history, and just look at this team and see exactly what they are? We knew who this team was before the season even started, and they're an okay team. Alex Smith is a pretty good quarterback. Is he good enough to win in the playoffs, win a Super Bowl? No, he is not. And I cannot believe that people want to sign this guy up for $17 million a year, just roll this same team out, get a couple new free agents, a couple new draft picks, and have any hope of winning a playoff game, thinking we're going to go to the Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. It's not in the cards. Maybe 35 years down the road. But who knows? It is just a disaster right now going into 2014 when we play the likes of the Patriots, the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Cardinals. Much harder schedule. No third-string quarterbacks as of now that we are going to be playing. So I don't see how we are going to get into the playoffs.
Here's the thing. You talk about extending this quarterback, Alex Smith. He's got one more year left on his deal. And the things I hear from people that are hell-bent on keeping him are phrases like you just used. Pretty good. Played better than Matt Castle.
Doesn't make mistakes.
That's the guy that you're wanting to extend for 4 years and be stuck with? No, because do you know what that means? It doesn't just mean that you're sitting there rolling a good quarterback out, because that's what he is, a good quarterback. A lot of teams roll good quarterbacks out. A lot of teams roll horrible quarterbacks out. We saw him this year. The Chiefs played every one of those teams. Now, if you're locking up Alex Smith for 4 years, guess what that means, Chiefs fans? 4 more years of not drafting a quarterback, of not developing a quarterback, and when Alex Smith's 35 years old and the time has run out and this regime is done and they just didn't quite get it done, where are you at then?
The same place we're at every single time. Marty leaves, Gunther comes in, Gunther leaves, Dick Vermeil, they bring a new scheme, but they never have that franchise quarterback, that young, developing stud of a quarterback that can carry the franchise and build around him. We build a team that we think is pretty good and then get a quarterback who we think we can manage the game and make a few throws, and we'll do it with defense, but they're just not quite good enough. Dick Vermeil, we're going to build a great offense and just disregard the defense. The defense is the worst in NFL history, and again, we just weren't quite good enough. Manning just had that little extra on that day. Priest Holmes couldn't fumble. Our defense couldn't stop anybody. It's over.
I'm with you, and here's the thing. This organization, there's not an organization in sports that is as maddening as this one, to me. Now, a lot of Chiefs fans, you know what? Maybe it's not as a big a deal to them. They have more balance in their lives. They like to go to Arrowhead, they like to go to games, they like to drink, they like to party, they like to tailgate. At the end of the day, they go home to their wives, they go home to their kids, okay, whatever. Chiefs, hey, we're 11-5, we were 2-14 last year, so just everybody shut up. Well, here's the deal. We've been trying to get a Super Bowl since we were little kids. Little freaking kids. I've been watching this team since Steve DeBerg was the quarterback in 1991, and I'll tell you what, I don't feel closer to a Super Bowl now than I ever did. In fact, I feel
much further away. We were in the AFC Championship game in '93.
Like you said, Alex Smith, you have to build basically for Alex Smith to be successful, you have to put him in an absolute perfect storm, which basically was the 2011 49ers team that he was on that didn't get to the Super Bowl either. An amazing defense. And the Chiefs' defense, by the way, guys, the only reason the Chiefs were 9-0 is because of that defense. The defense fell apart. There's a lot of pieces missing on this team, but you cannot absolve Alex Smith of blame. In the playoff game, the Chiefs were ahead 38-10. They needed more points than that. They just could only get 6 more. They needed 8 more. They couldn't get them.
Yeah, and I blame Joe Montana, Marcus Allen, and Marty Schottenheimer. This falls on them for showing me what greatness is, showing me what hard work and work ethic can do, leading us all the way to an AFC Championship game, possibly a Super Bowl if Montana doesn't get knocked out and Kibble Anderson catches a pass before halftime. But that's beside the point. But I blame them because just crave that every second of the day. Another Joe Montana, Marcus Allen, Marty Schottenheimer, and we just keep getting these guys who just, oh, here I am going through my scheme. I got an idea, blah, blah.
And is there any difference?
Get me a franchise quarterback!
But here's the thing. Because, you is there any difference to you between the Chiefs when they signed Joe Montana and what Denver Broncos did with signing Peyton Manning? Both they were about the exact same age, I believe, when they were signed by each respective team. But people like to always throw out, well, Joe was old and he'd been replaced. And, well, the Colts decided they were done with Manning. Oh, we got this other guy coming in. Forget this. We don't need Manning.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
But someone went and got
had
Manning.
Steve Young, and we just couldn't get Peyton Manning. Clark Hunt needed to say, Peyton, if you want me to fire Scott Pioli, it's done. Whatever changes you want me to make, it's done. You want me to go get this wide receiver? I'm going to go get him. You want me to get Dwight Freeney? I'm going to go get him. You want me to get Jeff Saturday? I'm going to go get him. You tell me what to do. I need you because I need a franchise quarterback. I'm tired of Bono, Gerbach, Matt Castle, Alex Smith, Damon Heward, Brody Croyle. I'm tired of it. I will not allow Andy Reid to come in here and trade for Alex Smith. I will not allow it. Peyton Manning, tell me what to do to get you behind this center and which center you want to be behind, and I will do it. You are coming to Kansas City. Tell me what it's going to cost. Tell me what it's going to take. Ferrari, my wife, you have it.
It just doesn't matter. The Denver Broncos gave him a string of Papa John's restaurants, okay? The thing of it is, you just, as a Chiefs fan, you have to feel like, as an organization, that they just aren't quite willing to do anything it takes like these other teams are.
Like, well, Pioli's already here. I can't just fire him to bring in this quarterback. Like, that's going to cause a big uproar. I don't care!
Just do it.
Super Bowl! Get it to me now!
I absolutely agree. And back to the original point of Kansas City fans. Kansas City fans are great. They're passionate. They fill Arrowhead. That's wonderful. But here's the thing. I think that they are just so accepting of mediocrity that it is really, really hard for them to look outside that box and see what else is out there. Because we've argued with fans all year. Because we've said, okay, Alex Smith may not be the answer here. He may be the answer to make us a good football team. We could be a worse football team without Alex. We would be.
Oh, yeah. We could be the Browns or the Jaguars.
Yes. Right.
But at least the Browns and Jaguars are now out there again looking for their franchise quarterback. The Browns are interested in Johnny Manziel. Well, we're stuck in, 10-6, 11-5, and they're trying to build for the future and build something great and find that franchise quarterback.
But these fans, the Chiefs fans, love this. They love this Alex Smith. They love the fact that we're going to extend him and we're going to be 8-8, 11-5 to 11-5 for the next 4 years. That's great. The Royals fans in this town fell all over themselves over almost making the playoffs. I mean, you check Twitter, you check Facebook during last summer.
It was like the World Series.
Well, that's what Dayton Moore himself said.
Yes.
That's sickening to me. That's absolutely unacceptable and sickening. Every professional athlete in this town sucks. I hate all of you.
Yes, I cannot stand you. You need to work hard, work like Peyton Manning. I was on Twitter before the bye week when the Kansas City Chiefs had their bye week, week 9, or after week 9. I was talking to Geoff Schwartz, our right guard, and I said, hey, you should take some film with you while you're on vacation. He's like, no, can't be doing that. I'm going to Turks and Caicos. I'm on an island. I deserve a week off.
And people,
Bob Fesco comes on saying, hey, leave the guy alone. He deserves it. They're 9-0. Well, Peyton Manning is watching film 24/7. If you do not, you have no chance. If you do, it's 50-50.
At best.
At best.
And
You've got to work as hard as that guy, and you don't, and you see the results. 2-6 from there on. Beat no good football teams. After the bye week, we beat the Redskins, Raiders, lose twice to the Chargers, twice to the Colts, twice to the Broncos, because you suck. You don't work hard enough.
You don't work hard, and the fans were lambasting you. If you check out our Twitter page, at Outsiders Sports, boy, Noah kind of tongue in cheek says to Jeff Schwartz, "Hey, take some play, some film on that bye week on that vacation." He what? I'm resting. I'm going on a cruise. Do you think Peyton Manning and Tom Brady went on cruises? Tom Brady has a notebook thick as as an inch on every single quarterback in this league. You have to work as hard as that to win a championship. You have to.
You can't be smoking pot, driving down Riverside in Missouri. What are you doing?
And fans, you are accepting it. That's my question, Chiefs fans. Why are you accepting this? Why is it acceptable? Just because is 2012 the first year you ever watched football? Yes, it was horrible. Yes, 2013 was better. But if the goal is not to win a Super Bowl, get out of here.
Yes, 2012, everyone acts like that was the first year, the only year the Chiefs have played football, and oh my God, it was so horrible, and look at the turnaround, woohoo, 11-5, we got to the playoffs. No, we've been here over and over and over and over, 20 years without winning a playoff game. Come on, people, it's time for a culture change. Maybe we have to get Andy Reid out of there. Yes, go ahead and yell at me because Andy Reid's a great coach. Look what he did with the Eagles. He didn't win a Super Bowl. And this team just needs a culture change. Like Javier Arenas said when he got traded to Arizona, he just didn't work hard here. Just didn't really care, didn't really try that hard. It seems like the rest of this team feels the exact same way as Javier Arenas does. Let's come in here, let's get our paycheck, and we want to be household names, but we don't want to work hard to be one of the best in the league, like a Richard Sherman, who you all have a problem with, has worked hard from a 5th-round pick to be the best in the league, and now he's going to his Super Bowl after making one of the best plays in NFL history on that last pass from Colin Kaepernick to Michael Crabtree, breaking it up, interception by Malcolm Smith, the Seahawks linebacker, game over, Seahawks win, Super Bowl, which you know nothing about.
Oh, we're going to try to calm down, fans. We're going to try to calm down. And what a great show. This Chiefs thing, this is deep. This runs deep and this runs red with both of us. And you have something that you want to add to it. Please come on our page. Please come and give us crap for each of us having a separate meltdown on this show. We would be welcome to hear it. Deep down, you agree with us. You would probably never admit it. You would probably never tweet it. But you're going to agree. You all want a Super Bowl, I hope. And we're just trying to help get you there. The Outsider Sports Show, Clint Switzer and Noah Groniger. Thank you so much for joining us.